Radical.
I think all of us, at one point or the other, have been tempted to or have used self-checkouts at various places. Walmart, grocery stores. It seems like almost every place right now has a self-checkout. But the problem is, the self-checkout implementation in the instance of many of my visits to various places has been piss poor, has been terrible. I'll give you two examples. I go to Walmart, and after 10 o'clock at the one I go to, they shut down all the lines of regular service. So everyone has to go to these self-checkout lanes. But what happens if you have a big buggy of groceries? It gets pretty crowded in that little area that has about 11 or 12 self-checkouts. You're expected to, after 10 o'clock, sometimes they shut down right before 10 o'clock. You're expected to, especially sucks if you don't know about the fact that they don't have a big one open. You're expected to put your whole buggy of groceries on a little area, a little tiny, teeny tiny area to the left. And then you have the kiosk where you put in all your information. Then you have a little bagging area to your right. The actual kiosk takes up more space than what they give you there in each little cubicle or whatever you call it. Like I said, there's 11 or 12 to do what you need to do. Perfect if you have just a couple items. But if you have a couple big items, dog, cat food, microwave or anything like that, then you pretty much have to keep it in the buggy. So you can't effectively take things out of the buggy and load it on a conveyor belt. That's the key problem with self-checkouts. They're little small areas. They're not meant for large orders. But like I said, at this particular Walmart, you have no other options after 10 o'clock. What happens if you work late? What happens if you get off at 9:30? You can't make it there before 10. And you have a lot of groceries to get. Sucks to be you. You have to deal with it. And that takes a lot longer, this supposedly fast checkout lane, this speedy option, if you have more than a couple items. Another issue in another place I go to, which is not a Walmart, but a grocery store, is it's even worse. During the daytime, they usually have one lane open. Unless it's rush hour after 6 or 7 p.m., they have just one lane open, and that's an express lane at that. And then they expect you. So basically, it's even worse. You have just 4. You have a total 5. Like I said, there's a conveyor belt, and they usually do take bigger orders there. But it's even an express lane. And maybe that was just an instance that I went there, and maybe they had some people called out or whatnot. I don't know. But you can't run a system like that where you limit people. It's about limiting people. They give you choice, they say. Oh, I like the convenience of a self-checkout. The problem is most places do not implement these self-checkouts well. So why is it done? Is it just to help the customer? No, it's basically to help the profits. It's to help these people cut labor, meaning to cut jobs. It's to help these companies cut jobs in what used to be friendly, helpful, human cashiers that actually could help you with your issues, but then it's replaced with a machine. So you have to talk to the machine. And what happens if there's errors on the machine? Well, you have to wait until a human, we go back to that pesky human worker problem. I know, right? Having to pay workers, huh? They have to still come over, and that takes them away from what they're doing. And they're cutting things. They're cutting everything basically except the fucking prices. The argument people will make is, well, it allows companies to keep the prices low for people. Have you seen that? Have you seen that? I have not seen that. There's one item in the past couple of years that has doubled in price. It's croissant rolls. They used to be 99 cents. Now they're $1.99. Did those self-checkouts and all the savings that the companies at Walmart have had, did those self-checkouts somehow make it to the price for the consumers? I don't think so. I don't see it. Otherwise, you're going to tell me a tube of croissants is going to be $7.50 or something like that. I don't think it's actually that. And I've actually seen some places, few places, are cutting back on their self-checkouts, or they're having to staff more people near the self-checkouts because guess what? Even though people are being watched on the cameras, they're stuffing extra things. Oh, some chapstick? They're just throwing extra things in the bag. And then they're getting through there because supposedly what's going to stop theft is, number one, the cameras. Ooh, smile, you're being watched. And they have people around the self-checkouts. The last line of defense is some elderly fucker sitting there on a bench that barely can read the damn receipt. They're supposed to be the last line of defense. Yeah, they'll check your receipt. They'll look at your receipt and they'll squint their glasses. They don't know what the fuck's on there because it's all these dinosaurs that they put checking people's tags. 90% of the time, it's like a dinosaur. It's just really elderly people. So if the companies would actually look into it, maybe they would realize that they're losing products, especially small products like chapstick, because people are going to be like, fuck it. I already having to work. Here's another point of why the self-checkout implementation kind of sucks. A lot of people feel like they can steal something because they're not getting paid by Walmart to actually be a cashier. They're not getting any health benefits. They're not getting any paycheck. But somehow they're on the schedule now. Because they're asked to complete the whole process. Some people argue, well, people pump gas. There used to be gas station attendants. Difference is, you take a pump out of the gas station, you put it in your car, and it's a couple minutes of you just pressing a nozzle. And your car's involved in that whole process. Something you own is actually involved in the process. So most people would, want to pump their own gas. That's different because this is a whole process of, before you would just have to collect your groceries, put them in a buggy. But now you have to take all your groceries out. And it's even a worse situation than, like I said, with the long conveyor lines, because you have to take every single thing out, scan every single item, put them in the bag, and you don't even have access to the really nice turntable style bags. You have a small area that you have to work in. You are physically working. You are doing the fucking job that they should be doing. They just sit there and they stand there and they're watching you bag your own groceries. I guess if you ask for assistance, maybe if it's, so they might come over and help you with something, but I don't understand how they think it's supposed to be a better overall process if you understaff, if you put one or two people manning 11 or 12 different registers. I don't understand the process outside of the companies just taking in more profit. Because if it was really for the convenience of the people, then they would have a 10 items or less system. And they would load up the actual long lines registers. If it was actually for the convenience of the people, they would hire more actual human beings to work in their stores. And during maybe like non-rush hour, take those cashiers, have them do some cleaning, it's fucking Walmart. There's so many things that they could be working on. But they just don't want to hire people. They'd rather just cut as much labor as possible, meaning cutting jobs, to put in these self-checkout machines. A couple minutes ago, I alluded to the fact that there are actually places out there that are getting rid of self-checkouts, or at least turning the machines off and pausing that and trying traditional registers. Crazy thought, I know, right? The way things have been done forever before self-checkouts. And seemingly that model worked pretty good, because during those times before self-checkouts, what they would do is, when they got busier, when their sales got up, they would hire more people or have people ready on the call to run the registers. Human beings. Makes sense, right? Human beings to run the registers to help the customers. But now the customers are the workers with self-checkouts. Um, at these places, it was said that there was overwhelming backlash to their implementation of self-checkouting, and there was a lot of customers that were complaining that they had to ring up their large orders of groceries and they couldn't get service through a regular line. And they felt like they were being forced to become employees of the places. There's an argument for that. If you are working to scan, bag your groceries, if you're doing the job of a cashier, maybe possibly you should, I don't know, get paid or get a discount at some point. Maybe a 5% discount for having to go through the line. I mean, it's something basically. Because you see, if you shut down, in the instance like I talked about at 10 p.m., if you shut down all the regular registers and you are forced to ring up all of your own items, then you are essentially forced into work for that store. It is work. If you're arguing to me, Rick, it's not work, then why the fuck are they paying cashiers? If they're not working, they expect you to work and get no discount, no money, no perks from being forced to go through the self-checkout. I'm not talking about maybe 2 or 3 lines on the traditional being full and you having to wait. I'm talking about a period of time where you can't even have the option. You got to go through there with your big order, scan all of your items. Even though you have not been trained to run the registers, you know, you don't have the work shirt on, you don't have the name tag. It's just crazy to me to think that it's being implemented so poorly when the whole argument for it is we're going to help customers. We're going to help them. They're going to love the self-checkouts. And it's okay to have them as long as the implementation is fine. As long as there is a healthy number of regular lanes to have the choice to go through. And everything's not being just put onto the self-checkouts. If you have more people ringing up groceries that don't fucking work there than work there, I think that's a little bit of a problem, don't you?